Welcome everyone to S.N.B Spring News Bulletin. I'm your host Rick Sage and your source for alternate football news and updates. Let's get on with it. Now in today's podcast, we'll talk about the XFL 3.0 beginning on February 18th of 2023, just a little over a month away, at 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Now the XFL inaugural game will be the Vegas Vipers versus the Arlington Renegades. That game will be played in Arlington, Texas, at the Choctaw Stadium. So to start, we'll focus on the QBs, the selections and allocations to their respective teams, and possible starters for each of them. First, the Arlington Renegades. The two quarterbacks selected for the Arlington Renegades are Kyle Sloter and Drew Plith. Now, if that sounds vaguely familiar, it's because Kyle Sloter just finished the USFL season in 2022 and played with the New Orleans Breakers. Kyle Sloter will be the starter for the Arlington Renegades, hands down, and Drew Plith will be the backup. Second team on the list is San Antonio Brahmas. They selected three quarterbacks. First quarterback selected was Anthony Russo. Second was J1 Pass. And third, Reed Sinnett. Now, these three quarterbacks all play college football. I really haven't watched any of them play, but it should be a contest between Anthony Russo and J1 Pass. But I think Anthony Russo will be the starter for the San Antonio Brahmas. Now moving along to the third Texas team, Houston Roughnecks. This was everybody's favorite team and the best team in 2020 and should do okay with a good roster this year for this inaugural 3.0 league. Three quarterbacks selected for the Houston Roughnecks are Caleb Ellaby, Cole McDonald, and Brandon Silvers. Now, if Silvers sounds familiar, it's because he played on the Seattle Dragons in 2020 for the XFL. With this list of three, Brandon Silvers should be hands down the starter, unless Caleb Ellaby shows and wows people. But Silvers should be the starter for the Houston Roughnecks. Next on the list, fourth team, Orlando Guardians. Sounds familiar because they used to be the New York Guardians. So the New York market's too expensive. They moved them down to Orlando, which is Danny Garcia's second city. So now they are the Orlando Guardians with new colors, basically taking over the green from the Tampa Bay Vipers. Their quarterbacks are Quinten Dormandy, DeAndre Francois, and Mitch Kidd. Mitch Kidd is a quarterback from the FCF. Quinten Dormandy and DeAndre Francis are both ex-college quarterbacks. Should be a good matchup, a good battle in training camp. But in the end, I think Quinten Dormandy may be the starter. Either way, it makes nothing to me. I don't like them. They're not my team. So that's what the Orlando fans will have to worry about. Not a great selection, but it is what it is. So moving on, we'll go number 5, DC Defenders. Now, DC Defenders selected Eric Dungey. Eric Dungey was a lone quarterback selected. And I know why. They were waiting for none other than Jordan Ta'amu. That's right. The ex-Tampa Bay Bandit USFL quarterback has jumped ship and jumped back onto the XFL ship and definitely will be the starter for the DC Defenders. Hands down, I guess Eric Dungey was sitting there all alone, all happy that he was going to be the starter. But now we have Jordan Ta'amu back in the league. He definitely would start. Sorry to see he's not back with the Seattle Battlehawks, but nonetheless, DC Defenders get themselves a good quarterback. Number 6, Seattle Sea Dragons. Yes, they're called the Sea Dragons now. They're three quarterbacks. They have Steven Montez, an ex-college quarterback. I think he played in some CFL as well. Brian Lewerke, if that seems vaguely familiar, it's because he played for the TSL, the Spring League champions in the Mega Bowl linemen backing up Ryan Willis. Another quarterback they have is Ben DiNucci. Now, if he sounds familiar, no, he's not some guy that works in a deli in New York. He was a Dallas Cowboy third-string quarterback who played a total of 3 NFL games, so he has professional experience. And from the Cowboys to the Sea Dragons, I believe since he's the only one really with some NFL experience, Ben DiNucci will be the starter and his job to lose. Number 7, St. Louis Battlehawks. They selected A.J. McCarron and Nick Tiano. Nick Tiano played for the CFL Alouettes, Argonauts, and spent some time in the NFL practice squads. A.J. McCarron, same thing. He played some practice squads in the NFL. And Ryan Willis, the MVP of the Spring League Mega Bowl, will be the starter for the St. Louis Battlehawks. I'm surprised he didn't sign with the USFL last year. They let this diamond in the rough slip away. Congrats to the XFL. They dug him up. He will be with the Battlehawks. Number 8, Vegas Vipers. Initially, they selected 2 quarterbacks, Luis Perez and Jalen McClendon. Luis Perez would be the projected starter, but hold on. This past few days, Brian Scott, another USFL former quarterback for the Philadelphia Stars, has signed on with the XFL, and he's been allocated to the Vegas Vipers. Sorry, Luis Perez. But Brian Scott will be the starter. He's his more popular quarterback, but not to worry, Vegas Viper fans. You have Luis Perez as your backup. Who knows? Sometimes these quarterbacks will sign here. Maybe Luis Perez gets a little prissy, gets a little mad, and maybe he quits and goes back to the USFL. Who knows? So those are all your quarterbacks for the 8 teams of the XFL and your starters. So don't forget, the Vipers and Renegades will be the kickoff for the 2023 XFL inaugural season on Saturday, February 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. So let me know what you think, who should start for each team, and who will be the favorite to win the 2023 XFL Championship game on Saturday, May 13th. I'm your host, Rick Sage. Thank you for listening. I'm out.